So a couple months ago, I reviewed this. This is the ClonerAlliance Pro 4K device. And they said, hey, you know, we also have the Ultra Pro. And they wanted me to unbox it and take a look at it. We're going to show you some of the differences between the two. Of course, I'm going to hook it up and show you how it all works. We're going to unbox it and show you the features. We're going to do that next on Geekazine. What's up, my geeks? Jeffrey Powers from Geekazine, Think Magazine, Put in a Geek. Now, this is the ClonerAlliance UHD 4K Ultra Pro here. It's still in the box. This is the previous model that I did review a couple months ago. It is 60 frames per second video recorder, a video game capture, H.264, H.265 recording, online video recording, screen recorder with instant playback right there. It's got HDMI pass-through in it. It's got cinematic mode at 24 frames per second. So you can go 4K 24 up to 4K 60 frames a second. It's got USB and TF or micro SD card recording. And you can do a 512 gigabyte flash drive or up to 8 terabytes on a regular hard drive. And that's what we're going to take a look at next. Before we do, I do have to mention that ClonerAlliance did send me product and they are sponsoring this video. However, all opinions are of that of Geekazine. I've got a full review section over at geekazine.com/review that you can go to check out. If you'd like to support the channel, of course, we have Patreon over at patreon.com/geekazine. And if you want to send a one-time tip, go over to venmo.com/geekazine. All right, let's take a little closer look on this. We're going to move the old one out of the way so we can unbox this really quick. It's going to be pretty straightforward, just like with the other one. We're going to open up this box and then take a look inside. There we go. First thing we see is a set of instructions, everything that you need to know about this UHD Pro. Next up, we have the unit itself. We're going to set that over here. We're going to open this up, and of course that gives us all the extras in there. That includes the power cable, which is 12 volt 1 amp power. We've got the remote control, just like the other one for the UHD Pro. And I'm guessing that this will actually work on both of those boxes, but we'll find out as we go. And then, of course, we have the USB. This is a USB-C to A cable. Before it was micro USB to USB-A, so that's an upgrade right there. And then, of course, we've got an HDMI to HDMI. Get that out of the way. Let's go ahead and bring this out. Now, this is the unit right here. As always, we're going to open this up. There we are. And there it is. We're going to take a look at the two units. From here, we have the two units. They look pretty much the same, but there is some slight differences on there. We'll look at the top. We've got the same 3 inputs. The auxiliary, we got the mic, and we got the line in, and of course the 3 buttons right here. Pause, snapshot, and of course the record and the stop button right there. On the side, we've got our SD or TF card. We've got USB 3.0, and then of course the USB-A connection right there. On this side, we have our micro SD card or TF card. We've got USB-C right here, and then of course USB-A. That's going to be different from this one in where we have the micro USB, then we've got USB-A. So there's no SD card either. On the back here, we've got the power button right here. That's followed by the power input, the 12 volt 1 amp. And then of course we have an HDMI in and an HDMI out. So that you can do a pass through to a monitor. So if you're doing any type of gaming video or screenshot video, you'll be able to see what is being displayed on the screen as well. We'll check for latency, by the way, because that was the one concern about this one, was there was a little bit of latency straight to the screen. If you're a gamer, latency is not a good idea. Same thing on the back. We had the power button. We have the input for the power, and then HDMI in and HDMI out. Let's go to this side. Absolutely nothing. On the bottom, that is all vented right there. Same thing here. Nothing on the top except for the name of the ClonerAlliance UHD Pro. All right, with that said and that done, next thing we're going to do is we're going to plug it in and hook it up to this camera and see how it looks on the monitor. We got it all hooked up here, ready to go. Got it ready to power on. I just have to flip the switch. We got the camera hooked up there. And then, of course, we're going to see it on the monitor right here. And we're going to do that by hitting the switch. Oh, I guess I got to plug it in still. All right, so let's go ahead and power it on. So we're going to hit the flip the switch here. We see a green light. You can't see that. Let's do that. You're going to see a green light. And then, of course, the monitor right here is going to show us. There we are. And it says remote control not paired because I did not pull it out of its packaging just yet. I need to put in a couple batteries here too. And then it says press any button to exit. But from what I'm seeing so far, the latency, there's still a little bit of latency on this, but it's not as bad as the previous one. I'm pretty happy about that. We need some AAA batteries, so let me get that. We've got our system settings, and of course the remote. Best part is I don't have to point it directly at the unit to get it to work. We've got our system settings, we got our recording settings, we got audio settings, scheduling settings. So if you are using it to schedule a recording, then you'll be able to do that. We've got our video, our image, our audio, and our storage. Let's go over to system settings. It's where we can do our system time. Right now it's not right because I haven't connected it up to anything. Time zone, which of course also is incorrect. Our HDMI output resolution, which is set to auto, but you can definitely go from 1080p to 4K. For the most part, you'll keep it at auto. It'll not be a big problem. But if you do have to do any type of configuration, then you might need to set it to 1080p or 4K and whatever resolution you want to choose. We'll go ahead and focus more on the screen. We've got our HDMI output scale, which we can, it's right now at 100%, but we could bring it down if we wanted to. There's at 93. As you can see, we're getting more of a border on that screen right there. Right here, you'll see the border. And we're back at 100%. We'll hit the back button here. We've got our prompt to pair remote control, which we don't need anymore. We've got the screensaver, which we set for 1 minute, but I want to turn that off. I always like to turn those things off. Gone. And language, different languages. We got English, Chinese, Dutch, Italian, Russian, some other ones. We'll hit the back button. And then, of course, a factory reset. Firmware version down below. I don't know if there is an update to that, so I'll have to connect that up to find out. But we don't have anything in the SD card slot either. Now, this thing does not have Wi-Fi or Ethernet, so if you need to do a firmware update, you'll have to use a separate computer, or you'll have to connect it up to the computer via USB cable. Let's go over to recording settings. We've got the file format. We can choose MP4 or TS if we wanted to. Recording resolution, we can go 4K or 1080p, or once again, the auto. File size, unlimited, 4 gigabytes, 16 gigabyte, or 2 hours. This is basically how long do you want it to record before you create a new file. And then there is also loop recording. And of course, if you're using this as a security camera, which you can do, you have a camera attached, and then this is just recording whatever happens. You can set it up for loop recording, and that way it just starts to overwrite what it already recorded. So if you do 20-minute increments and then the hard drive fills up, it's just going to start over and delete the latest one and then continue on from there. We got auto stop for signal loss. So if there's any problems, then it's just going to stop from there, of course. We got our file name prefix, our suffix, which basically you can set like system time or something else. We got system time or just an index number. We're going to stick with system time. We got our video codec, which right now is at H265 HVEC, but we can go to H264 AVC. We're going to leave that as it is. Video bitrate is 24 megabits per second. We can go up to 50 megabits per second. Now, keep in mind that does make for a larger file size. However, it's also going to save more data information. If something is recording at a low bit rate, this is not going to improve the bit rate at all. It's just going to make the file size a lot bigger. If you're doing a screen recording, if you're doing a video like this, it's going to be a great way to record your video. And right now we're recording just the video. And of course, the HDMI will also capture audio. So if I had a microphone attached switch to this camera, you'd be hearing it from this camera into the unit. If you do 50 megabits per second, you're going to want to have pretty much a flash drive or a SSD that can write at 50 megabits per second or better. Keep in mind, TF cards or micro SD cards run a little bit slower than a flash drive or a USB hard drive. You do have to look at the speed of the drive to make sure that it can handle 50 megabits per second. We also have audio bit rate right here, which we can go up to 320 kilobits per second for the most optimal sound. I like to switch that to 320. We got a time watermark, which if we set that, once again, that's more of a security camera type function. So it'll basically have a little timestamp on the bottom. We can display the recording while recording. So that basically will put a little recording bug up in the corner so you can see that it is recording. And then we're back to here. Audio settings, we can do a lot of volumes, mic in volume, aux volume, HDMI out volume. I think you can use both the microphone and the auxiliary at the same time. So if you want to marry the video, it's not going to give you separate tracks. Whatever you bring in is what's going to be recorded. I highly recommend not to use it that way, but if you have no choice, then you have that option. We can schedule our settings to record if we want to. We got our video settings right here, which is basically showing us the preview. We haven't recorded anything, so we see absolutely nothing here. But if you want to see the playback, you've got the options. There we go. If I hit record right here, it says failed to start recording because we don't have a storage device detected. I'm going to have to put a storage device in there. So let me do that right now. Let's go to storage and see what we got here. It says that we have 2 partitions in here, and this is the one we need to use. So we're going to select that as current storage device. We can also test the writing speed and format the partition. I don't want to format it. We're going to test the writing speed, see if that works. And it looks like it's working just fine. So I'm good with that. Let's go ahead and use that then. Select as our current storage device. We'll back out of that. Now we're going to hit the record button. And now we're recording. You'll see the little recording bug on the top corner here. And once again, in the menu, we can say, hey, I don't want that, but we're going to leave that in for now. We're going to do about 10 seconds worth of recording and then stop that. Now, when we go into the menu, it's saving, which took about 5 seconds more to save. So I don't know if a larger file will take a little bit of time to actually save. We're going to go back into the menu and we're going to go to video. And now this video is playing. And as you can see, there I am. So we've got a pretty straightforward setup here with the settings. I still haven't checked to see if that's the most current firmware. We'll work on that. And then I'm going to plug it into my computer. But the big thing is the latency. And this is how we test latency. We just basically do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So as you can see, there is a little bit of latency. I'd say we're a lot better than the other one. The other one was showing about 200 to 250 milliseconds. This one is doing a little bit more around the 50 to 100 millisecond range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can kind of see that little wave going between the two. But the whole point is there is going to be a little bit of latency. We could drop down these settings and maybe that will change. Let's do 60 frames at 1080p. And we'll say yes. And then we'll back out of here. And now we're going to do the test again. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's a little bit better. I'll have to double check from the two, but we're running 1080p at 60 frames a second. So, but it's still a lot better than what this old box had. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect it up to the computer. We're going to see how the web interface will work with this thing. Now we have it connected up into the PC through the USB cable. And of course, we're using the ClonerAlliance helper box. And now keep in mind, that's actually going to give us more latency than what we saw over here. So when we do that, you'll see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's a lot worse than it was on that TV. But the TV is what we're going to see for the pass-through. And this we're just going to be using to kind of set up the shot, make sure that everything's working, and then not look at it when we're recording, because that could definitely throw us off. But we do have all the options to go live, to hit the record button. We can change our capture device, but in all reality, it's this one, which is the ClonerAlliance video that we need. And then, of course, our audio capture device can be from the ClonerAlliance or from another audio source if we choose. We can set up the recording schedule, hit the record button. We got our folder where our files, where our videos and our photos are going to be. And then, of course, if we video broadcast that, we can set up the VBS through a server, which is great for me when I'm doing video, because then I can set up a private server. So when somebody wants to watch what I'm doing, let's say they're sponsoring the video, then they can do that and watch the video as it's going live. And that way, if there's any mistakes, they can say, hey, wait a minute, fix this. We got the settings, which will give us our general settings, our preview, our record, our image, our live, VBS, of course, because sometimes if you're going live to like an RTMP, basically an RTMP source, so like a YouTube or something like that, then you can choose up to 1080p, but your VBS might be a little bit less because you might have less bandwidth if you're doing both. And then our virtual camera, that's what we need to set up. So if you want to see it inside of a streamer like a vMix or an OBS or something like that, then you'll be able to do that. So we're ready to go to do any of the recording or scheduling, so you can have a computer do the recording if you wanted to. That way you can run it in many different solutions, whether on-site or off-site as well. And that's pretty cool if you're trying to record a single camera or a video gameplay or anything like that. And that's basically it for the ClonerAlliance UHD Pro. It is very easy to set up. Pros and cons, really easy to set up. We have a little bit of latency, but if that's not a big deal for you when you're doing your gaming, then this will work. If it is a big deal, then just basically put a splitter or something else in front of the ClonerAlliance and let the ClonerAlliance be on the back end of things, so you're not relying on the monitor with that little bit of latency right there. But for a lot of gameplay, that shouldn't be a big deal. I like the fact that I can still use the same software. I like the fact that it's easy to set up, and if I need this in a pinch, I can do so. The remote was a little bit touch and go. Sometimes it would just go, sometimes you took a couple presses at it, but it is a pretty sturdy remote connection wise. With the fact that it's now USB 3.0, you'll have some better speeds. So once again, 50 megabits per second. If you're recording stuff, that'll give you more information to work with, and you'll be able to get high quality videos like this one, or a screenshot if once again you're gaming. So, but what do you think about this? Do you use the ClonerAlliance systems, the Pro or the UHD Pro, the older, the new? Let me know in the comments below over at Geekazine.com, youtube.com/Geekazine. You can like, subscribe, and of course, hit the bell notification so you know when the next video comes out. Until next time, my name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching. You guys geek out and create on with ClonerAlliance.